the strength and wisdom to perform the duties and fulfill the responsibilities required by our oaths of office. May our actions be pleasing to God and meet the expectations of the citizens we serve. Amen. Whoa, wrong side. Community Center. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go ahead and call tonight's meeting to order. We did roll call be called silently by the reporter. Council members, you have minutes from August the 15th before you. What is your pleasure?
Move to accept them as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion from the meeting minutes from August 15th? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is public comment. We will go to Doris Home at 641 Newton Avenue. You have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you. I just called to thank the city for cleaning out the ditch over here on Newton Avenue between Newton and Mohawk. I talked to you last week, and I want to say thank you. You guys doing a good job, and for digging the little trench across the grassy area for me and cleaning out that big long gutter so when it rains, the water runs down and runs into the ditch. And thank you so much.
Absolutely. We'll make sure that send our guys out on the street department to know. We appreciate you coming tonight. Thank
Well, I
you.
hope to make some banana bread and take it up to the city office one of these days.
They'll appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Jerry Compton, 1440 College Avenue. You have the floor, sir.
Yeah, I'd like three things tonight. One, the drain on Allen Avenue and Main Street. 2 months ago, we were told that it was out on the work list. Is that getting any closer to the top? Still there, and I haven't seen work.
Allen and Main Street, right?
Secondly, the walking track out to the park. Apparently the second half of that was approved. It was put out for bid in the spring. Is that not correct?
State puts that out for bid. What was the last bid opening on the walk?
Talking about in the park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been awarded to Benchmark Construction.
Yeah. The state's overseeing that project. We're just a money conduit for that project.
Okay. Any idea of start time?
Now they got a few, they already got some change orders to take care of, and it should be just any day.
Okay. Third thing is that I'm assuming with the age of the cars, that most of the city vehicles are Bluetooth. And is there any reason why, if they are, that our city officials and employees are not using that to talk on their cell phones rather than having their cell phones to their ears?
I don't know if you have a specific instance. Let me know because I'd
Yeah,
address
I'll let you know right
Yeah,
now.
Thank you.
The other day coming into town, Danny was sitting by Wall's Funeral Home, almost stuck out in the street. I had to swing out to get underneath the underpass, and he's sitting there talking on his phone held to his ear. You know, perfect stuff.
Anything else, sir?
That's all.
Thank you. Jacob Mitchell, 703 Water Street.
Oh, thank you. One of the things that I had really been passionate about when I ran, and one thing that you all taught me, is that name recognition is everything. Donnie actually congratulated me, said that I did better than him and Chris the first time they ever ran, and I mean, hats off to you. I know how much each and every one of you are pivotal in the community. I know how much you love working with the kids, doing the umpire thing. I know you coach. I don't know much about you, so I apologize.
It's okay, man.
I know you do your brown bag ministry. Everyone loves Paula. My daughter's known who you are since her and Samuel started school, and everyone knows Chris. I mean, look at what you've accomplished in not 4 years, 8 years. You've accomplished, like you said, we've got $10 million in revenue for the new sewer system to update that hasn't been updated in 30 or 40 years. You've re-turfed the ball fields out at the park, and everyone loves it. And you've got a lot of accomplishments that not a lot of people know about. And unfortunately, we're at a point in our history where I call it the tween age, where we have the generation of my dad's and his dad, and then my generation and her generation. In 20 or 30 years, we may be able to go to strictly digital. But one thing I wanted to do when I ran, if elected, I wasn't, hats off to all of you all. It just made me want to work harder and be a good part of this community. And all the help that you gave me, whether direct or indirect, has really helped me to get close and have her guidance. And I have also had the guidance of others along the way in City Hall. And I appreciate everything you all do. But one thing that I know that everyone wants is a physical copy of the newsletter. I know that it was wasteful spending back in the day because, like you said, when I met with you, that you were finding so many of them in the trash. And one thing that we could do is I have laid out not only plans that you could choose from, how much you would spend economically, and everything. I've done all the work. Basically, all you have to do is really just bring back the newsletter, because what it gave us, when the trash was gonna be late, it gave us phone numbers at City Hall in case we needed to reach you all. It told us when events were coming up. It told us when anything was happening. If anyone missed the council meetings, we could read the council minutes. We had Paul's Corner. We had Charlie's Chuckles. We had something about the police department, the fire department. And I realize we live in an age of fiscal responsibility. So the idea that I really want to pitch, and I'll give you the rest of it. I printed off stuff to look over and everything. Is kind of make it more like the tidbits, where we still have all the fun stuff that we had when we had the newsletter, but give our local businesses an opportunity to put ads in it, which in turn pays for it, which in turn takes money out of the taxpayer's pocket and allows us to spend more money on upgrading the sewer system, the ball fields, anything. And I went out in the community, knocked on doors, got support. I got 70 signatures. Some of them are here. Doris, Connie, my dad, Janelle, Paula, Sandra, Jerry, and there's many others here. But all we're asking is that we have a physical copy of the newsletter back. And I understand that it costs money, but that's one thing I really wanted to do to try to make a difference. Because you have so much to show everybody. And all the bad things I hear about you while I'm out there, or any of you, it's because of misinformation. People don't know the truth. People don't know the truth of your all's accomplishments. And you all have accomplished a ton. So I know that no matter, sometimes if you say things to people, they aren't going to believe you anyways, and you aren't going to get their vote in the first place. But for those who actually want to learn, like myself, my daughter, people need to know the truth. So I printed off, and I'll give this to you. Plans you can do, financial breakdowns you can do, how much cost estimate. I actually got a cost estimate from City Hall of how much they spent over the last 5 years. Signatures, and just basically the petition, which I will read here in a second. But one thing that really stuck out to me is in your campaign, you said that I stand by my time in office and the work that I've done over the years. It's all a matter of public record. You have nothing to hide. It's always been an entirely transparent process, and I assure you that I will continue to be transparent. That I will continue to be. Transparency and honesty is what people are owed. Tangible results and leaving it better when I took office was always my goal. You've done a hell of a job over the last 8 years. So why not let the people know? But that's all.
We actually have comment cards that we're getting ready to mail out at the end of the month to get a survey through the community of how many people would like to receive a newsletter, a physical newsletter, and then we will go forward from there when we get that back.
Appreciate the information. No, you can leave this with me. I'd love to have it. Thank you.
I basically broke down everything, and then here is the petition itself. Do you care if I read it and then I'll sit down?
No, go right ahead.
I don't want to take too much time. I know there's a 3-minute limit. I don't want to be windy. It says, we the people of the village of Barboursville are requesting that the mayor and village council bring back the newsletter in monthly in print form. This is to be mailed out to the residents that want want to receive it physically while still being available to those who want to receive it online. We have laid out some plans that detail some examples of how the newsletter can be brought back monthly. These plans come with a breakdown of how much it will cost to do it monthly. This monthly newsletter is of vital importance so that transparency and openness of government and community are achieved in the village of Barboursville. We would love to have this brought back as soon as possible.
Thank you very much for being here tonight, Jacob.
Well,
Thank you,
also,
Jacob.
I want to say thank you all because I learned a lot, and I was never a part of this community before I ran for office, and all the help that she gave me, and you gave me, and all the advice that people gave me, the kind words that people gave me. I mean, it's made me want to become a part of the community, and hopefully, because of term limits, I may have a chance in 4 years.
Thanks for your comments. Sandy Chapman, 650, oh, I'm sorry, I have to wait, Sandy. Well, go ahead, 615 McClung Avenue, you have the floor.
Okay, all right, well, I agree with Jacob 100% on that letter. I've been a resident here since 1985. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about it was to get that letter because I knew nothing about Barboursville. And we have people move in and out all the time. They don't know what events, to this day, I found out today when Fall Fest is. I had no idea. I know that in the letter it used to say that the fire department would have a boot drive and the things that were going on and things that were needed here and ways of help that people who are residents might be able to help. It made me feel like, even though I was no part of a budget or anything like that, it made me feel like that it was being made important that the people that lived here knew what was going on, where the money was being spent, how it was being spent. When we got new police officers and things like that, you know, you knew about it, and there was a closeness, and I think the letter had something to do with it because you knew what was going on. You knew you felt like you could come, and if you had a need, say it. If you had a need, you knew who to go to. You know what phone numbers to go to. All these things, and I think that's really important. I would like to see it come back. I don't think that advertising is a bad thing. I mean, if there's a cost involved in it, we've got businesses and they need to get their name out there. I don't know how many times I've been asked in the last couple of weeks, what's going on in the old library? I have no idea.
We don't either, other than what we've been told otherwise. It's
Well,
not our building.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you have no idea. So that way we would have some idea what's going on. That also might help the residents support the businesses more, if you had an idea of what was going on. But that I would really like to see come back. And one of the issues that I have that I need help on, about 2 years ago, I started noticing in my street, in front of 615, a puddle of water that stayed there all the time. And I called at least 2 or 3 times, and finally he came over and he looked. I think you came twice, didn't you? And at one time he actually put your hand in it, and I think you said it felt oily, or you felt something in it. Well, I watched that crack, and that crack has gone from this long to all the way from one side of the street to the other. Last night we walked out and looked at it. It's this wide. It's got branches off of it. There are 2 pools there. Now, if you go in the daytime in the heat, you're not gonna see how much water comes up through there. At night, you can really see it, and it's traveling around. The cracks are getting bigger. That's a school bus route, that's a truck route. If it's a sinkhole, or if it's something caving in, it would be bad to get up on Monday morning and find out your kids can't get to school because the buses can't get there.
That's right in front of your house.
Right in front of my house.
We'll send the stormwater team over to take a look at it this
Well,
week.
I actually even called the water company, because I think you said maybe it was the water company. I didn't know that that's a state road, but Barboursville maintains it, if I understand right. So I went ahead and called the water company. The water company, I've talked to them twice. They finally got somebody out. They put X's on the road and never came back. So I don't know what's going on.
They did mark the road then, okay.
The road was marked last Friday.
Okay.
They've
We'll
got,
follow up with them as well. We'll send our stormwater team out too. Thank you.
yeah, something's going on there, and it does not look good.
What color was the marked white.
White, and I think there's a blue one.
That's gas, then, right?
That's water.
Water, blue.
White means they want, the utility companies to mark where the lines are, maybe they're gonna.
They've got two by the curb, then they've got one right where the puddle is, and the ground is actually starting to dip in where that originally started.
We'll follow back up with the water company as well.
Okay.
I appreciate the information, thank
I
you.
appreciate that. I appreciate you all.
Joe Fitzwater, I did not mean to skip over you, I skipped right over you and went to Sandy, so you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, my name's Dale Fitzwater, and I live actually in Martha, but I grew up in Barboursville. 12 years of schooling, right across the street. The other two schools were here in town, and Little League and Scouts over on the Methodist Church. So I got a strong history here, and I used to run these streets a little bit, and Rick maybe ran more than I did. I just turned 70 last week, and I retired 3 years ago and started playing pickleball, and I really enjoy it. I was real excited when I heard Barboursville was gonna put new courts in where I could just drive 10 minutes down the road instead of down to Ritter Park and play. I mean, a few of these cities around here, like Cerrito, they've built courts, Raceland, Ashland, Bellefonte, Hurricane, Nitro's got a big complex they just opened up with 13 courts. They even have a nice pool there they included into it. Of course, like I say, I play most often at Ritter Park, but I have played in some tournaments around. There'll be another one in Ashland, over in Central Park, and over here at another one in Nitro. I don't like to be, I don't call it trouble or anything, but I just so disappointed when I saw the court. They look beautiful. They did a great job on the surfaces, you know, very nice, but they just totally messed up on putting the courts in. You swing back your paddle and you hit the fence. It's only 5'2" on the ends, where it's gotta be at least about 8 feet, and preferably 10. The old courts in Barboursville, they were 11 feet. They were great. You had all the kind of rooms in the world. And, there's like 11 feet on one side, and the other side where they got the big fence in the middle, there's only about 5 feet. It's dangerous. I've seen people, I fell into it. I've seen a player got his foot caught in between there's a metal cylinder there, a little steel cylinder that holds the fence up, and he got his foot caught in between those. I mean, it's just a poor situation. Now, right now, they're mainly just beginners playing out there. It's really catching on. But like I said, they don't even realize, they're just pretty much sitting there, hitting the ball back and forth, and they don't really realize it's a problem. I don't think there'll ever be any tournaments held there. I mean, less, it could be, but no competitive players would come and play. I'm pretty sure about that. Like I talk to people, and I play on Saturdays a lot in Barboursville, and I lost my train of thought here. But anyway, it's just a shame. It was a great opportunity. It's a missed opportunity, because they could have had tournaments. These other cities are having tournaments, and they're bringing in Nitro 2 or 3 weeks ago had over 200 players, and I don't know how far they drive in from, but it's just like the soccer fields here, and I was out there, we used to play like 8 o'clock on Saturday mornings out here at Barboursville. Beautiful park, I love it. But like I said, just so disappointed that you couldn't play really competitive pickleball there. Someone who designed or built it just didn't understand the concept of pickleball, I guess. I don't know whether the construction company had anything to do with it. I don't know where the fault lies. But like I said, it's just a missed opportunity. I know a guy or two that they know how they could be corrected, but it'll be a big expense, including adding on and knocking over. Like down in Cerrito, they actually did theirs in-house and did a great job. Plus the fact they've got and by November, they'll have 3 indoor courts. And all that people play there all the time. There's one in the wellness center down there, and they're old, I think it's American National plant that went out several years back. They're working right now on putting a couple in there. I mean, it's exploding, but I don't think it's gonna explode in Barboursville, unfortunately, unless this problem can be corrected.
Well, actually,
Go ahead.
actually, after you emailed me, I talked to Andre, our Parks and Rec director, about the discussions amongst parking board and how pickleball courts came to be, so I actually asked Andre to come. And we do have, Andre Price is our Parks and Rec director. Also, we do have a place who's invested some money in that's in, well, I think it's not in city limits. The tennis center's not in city limits, is it? They put new courts at the top of the hill there across from Walmart as well, which are indoor, which is nice. So
Right, yeah.
I agree. We've figured out that there's a affinity for the sport. So I had Andre go back and do some checking, so I'm gonna let him speak to this.
Okay, great.
So just, excuse me, just as a piece of information, the courts that were just completed, they used existing space, so our goal was not to expand that concrete pad at all. We knew that there'd be a large expense, trying to make that bigger. We wanted to make sure that we still had adequate tennis courts too, so we do still have 6 tennis courts out there. We've got a lot of middle schools that come out and play tennis, so we wanted to make sure we could house them as well. We do know that the sport is exploding, and we can, our park board can address some improvements in the future maybe to help fix that situation as time moves on and the sport continues to grow. But our goal was simply to provide more recreational opportunities. We weren't really in the market for bringing in large tournaments or anything. We just wanted to provide additional recreational space. And then as things continue to grow and progress, the park board can look at addressing some of those issues and maybe expanding that pad in the future.
And Dale, as I said, I'm gonna put this back on the park board's agenda, let the chairman know, and we'll have a discussion about it in park board as well.
Several Saturdays back, I just looked around all 6 of the new courts, and the 3 old ones are all being used. And I think they all had doubles on each of them, so that was 36 people playing at 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. And the tennis courts they're beautiful also.
Yeah, I
2
think
people playing on 1 court.
Yeah, I think
That's what's going on.
Yeah, I think the idea at that point was, like Andre said, was to gauge interest and provide more space and see how much the sports are gonna take off. And I think we figured out that there is an affinity for it, so it will be back in front of the park board for discussion.
And a lot of people just think it's all geezers like me playing, but it's all cross-section of people. An 11-year-old boy down there in Huntington, he's incredible. I mean, he's already winning these medals, some of these tournaments and stuff. But yeah, I appreciate the time, and
Thanks for being here.
pardon me?
Thank you for being here.
All right, thank you.
Chris, one thing that you got, and I just started playing pickleball, but what they did out there to use the available space, but they only left 4.5 foot from the center to the inline on one side,
Right.
and you got over 10 foot on the other end. It was in the center of the court in the available space. So one side's fine, the other side you're.
Right, I think that's what Dale.
All they
Dale
really had to
emailed me.
do was center the nets.
Yeah.
There's almost enough room, 7 or 8 feet would suffice,
Right.
not
Yeah,
optimum.
the center.
Yeah, I can't
If they
speak
just
to
took
the
center and
construction,
put
all I
it in
can
the
speak
center of
to
their
is
court,
we're
it
gonna put
would
it back in front of the park board.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
I don't
we'll
think
put the regulation.
maybe move the post at some point in time or restrict them. It'd be the easiest thing to do.
So now pulling 1203 McClung Avenue, you have the floor.
Yeah, I just wanted, I know this is crazy, but do you all realize how many deer in this community? I know.
Yes,
How
we do.
how can we address that a little bit, they're,
Well, we're in talks with DNR right now. We went back and looked at our historical deer urban hunt, and in 16, 17, 18, or no, 17, 18, and 19, is the year we stopped during COVID in 20. Our deer, the take on our urban hunt was 10 or less each year. So we really weren't having an effect on the deer population by having the urban hunt. The other thing, after discussing it, and I haven't really told this to council yet, we're gonna have a work session the next meeting, but the insurance company that we utilize for our liability and property and casualty insurance will not insure our park in the manner that they insure it now, or at all, pending a review of the urban hunt because of how we've developed our park for trail space the gun range is there, plus you have on the other side, which used to be wide open space, now you have synthetic turf fields and sports complex being utilized almost every day. So it's become a safety issue. And the other thing, just going back and doing a little homework about the urban hunt, Chief Coffey had actually spoken against it before because of the safety issue, and as has our current chief, it being a safety issue. We've talked to the DNR, which Andre actually talked to the DNR for me last week while I was out, and short of fencing, and people not feeding them. Honestly, there are people in town who feed them. There's not a whole lot to be done. They eat my flowers too. As a matter of fact, I took a picture of 4 laying in my front yard. They're more like dogs than they are deer in my neighborhood. So
is it not
well,
possible?
you guys, Teresa, you guys know, you live up there.
I know it sounds crazy. It's not possible that during that urban hunt, you can just shut the park down and only hunters in there? I'm just trying to find a solution.
I'm not sure that would be agreeable to all the organizations who use our facilities. We're monetizing the investment we've made, so there's rentals being done in the park on a daily basis.
I mean, we're talking that we usually go deer hunting in December.
2 weeks, and if there's good weather, they're playing soccer on those fields.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Lacrosse,
I'm
soccer,
just trying to figure out a solution.
and you
We
have
all
walkers who
benefit.
use it every day as well, and even in the cooler months, there's shelter rentals, so I'm not so sure that shutting the park down, I mean, I'm pretty sure the park board would not be up for shutting the park down for
Yeah,
urban
I'm
hunt.
just trying to find a
So
reasonable
if
answer.
they're
to
on
it.
our property, can we shoot them?
Chief, I'm gonna turn it back
It's deer season.
Nice.
Hey Chief, let me ask you a question. That's always been an issue with deer damage, deer in this town.
Right.
Is an air gun legal in the city limits versus a deer gun, a shotgun? I think maybe a air gun is legal. This is what I knew years ago.
Right.
Cause we all have deer problems and issues, but
Right.
you know, you're gonna hit them in the butt, yeah, they're gonna fly off, but you know.
This is probably one subject I'm gonna have to get back with.
Thank you, I
Do some research.
It's 2 years ago.
I'll tell you what I
It's a
do.
legal weapon and you can't hunt within 300 yards or 300 feet.
Feet of a house.
And there-
It doesn't
I'll tell you what I do, I let my
matter.
dog chase him to the tree line and get him out of my yard.
Yeah, get your big old dog in
Yeah.
over.
He's not big, but he's mighty.
Is the deer that are eating our stuff
Yeah.
are not the park deer, they're city deer.
They're living on the edges.
They are,
They came from when you cut Tanyard Station down back there, and they all came this way. All the birds, all the deer came into Barboursville that were over there in Tanyard Station and over there at the graveyard in that area. They weren't near as bad. I had never had a fence up until I need to put one up. Would the city like to help me?
You have to probably make it 10 feet tall.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they told me they could jump, and I
They can
said,
jump.
I put stuff up, but they still
All right,
ain't
we have one
everything.
other person registered to speak this evening, and Jonathan Beckett, 504 Maple Street, sir, you have the floor.
I just wanna say you all are doing a great job for the city, that's all I wanna say.
Thank you very much for being here tonight, Jonathan. We will go ahead and jump into our regular agenda. We have several items to deal with here this evening. Council members did meet in work session over a number of these, so a lot of these are anticipated items. So the first one is to consider approval of budget revision 2023-04, and that's budget revision number 2, the general fund. John, did you want to talk about that?
We have, this revision is for the $10,000, that the council agreed to, provide to the library during this fiscal year. During the budget session, that was not the case, so we had to make that revision. The second part of that revision is, a simple move to, show the contribution that is provided to the senior center in its own department. So I removed it from the city hall, contributions for a little bit more transparency, so that it goes to, a department, that is specific to the senior center.
So the budget revision this evening, as we talked in work session, will allow us to do the contribution to the library. And in your package, you'll find a letter that we've asked on behalf of the council, I've asked on behalf of the council and the administration, that those funds be used specifically for programming at our library. And it does, so from before, we were giving $8,000, it does increase their contribution to 10. And we've not had an increase in a number of, I'll just say a number of years. We went back and looked historically, we've not increased that contribution, I don't think since before I was mayor. So that's the amount that will add to the budget revision. So I'll entertain a motion to accept budget revision 2023-04. Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is consideration of approval of resolution 2023-05, authorizing construction of extensions, additions, betterments, and improvements to the sewage system of the village of Barboursville. A limited one-time grant of not more than $7 million to be used for pay the interconnection project with P Ridge PST's wastewater treatment facilities in Barboursville, Cabell County, West Virginia, and other purposes related there too. The sanitary board met, and actually our sanitary board director is here this evening. Sanitary board met, and this is something else we talked about in our work session. Part of the reason that we made application for the home rule program and to obtain those additional revenues was for infrastructure. And this is perfect use of the money that we have for this infrastructure project. This affects every citizen that receives a sewer bill from us. This will allow us to not raise our rates for a while. So this money will go straight to the sanitary board for that project. And just as a reminder, we've received approval on one of our earmarks. We received an that is going to the president's desk for approval on the second earmark in the amount of $10 million. So we'll receive $5 million for sure. The other one's going to the desk on the budget for approval of the president's desk this fall. So that will be a total of 10 if we receive it. Both of our senators on appropriations. So we're probably going to get that money. We also received $750,000 from the county for our project, and we have another $2.5 million asked from funding from the state of West Virginia that we're waiting to hear back as well. So we're still not spending the bulk of the funding on this project, but this is perfect use of our tax dollars that affect our residents in a very positive manner. So I'm going to entertain a motion to approve that resolution for funding to the sanitary board for the sanitary sewer project.
I move we accept the $7 million to the wastewater treatment.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Can I ask a question? Or am I allowed to ask a question on that?
Not at this point. I mean, I'll talk to you after the meeting if you'd like, but this is for the council to take up at this point. I can talk to you afterwards.
Okay.
Any further discussion from council members?
You did mention increases. Are we through our staged increases? I know we had a plan of rate increases, that we had a couple year tier. I don't want it to be stayed, we're not gonna change anything, it still might happen, but.
Right. We're through
Those are all
those
completed,
increases.
okay. All
Yes.
those, okay. That's all.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. If there's no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The third item is consideration of approval of resolution 2023-06 for the purchase of a mower for Parks Department. This is a mower that's met its time frame, and as you guys know, they're mowing from basically March to November. So it's time to replace the mower, and that's what the resolution is before you. The quotes for that particular mower, Danny, did you want to speak to those?
Yes, this is the mower that Ricky uses, and the device on the bottom of the deck that directs where the grass goes is missing. So the grass just goes everywhere. It's dangerous, actually. This is a 2009 model, and it's 14 years old, so it's time to replace it.
Your bid is in the amount of
Mower,
$14,769. 44.
$26,687.
What's in there? The zero turns, they quoted us.
Oh, the top one, okay, gotcha.
One in
Your
there.
rough terrain is 26,687, okay. That's the recommendation from Ricky and the department, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what's before you, council members, to replace that mower.
I'll make a motion to purchase the mower.
Motion and a second, is there any further discussion?
Mayor, is this out of the budget? Is this in the budget?
This particular item is coming out of the general fund budget, correct?
Right, this item will come out of the park department's budget. We did not have that as an item per se at our work session. When we did the budget work session in the spring, this particular item was not, but we have $31,000 that we budgeted for equipment.
So it will come out of the budget, is the answer to your question, sorry. Okay, So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is consideration of approval of resolution 2023-08 for a purchase of Bobcat skid steer for the street department. Also be noted that this will be split between, the sanitary. Oh, did I skip one? Sorry, I'll go back to it. Oh, I didn't do the side by side. We'll go ahead and hit the Bobcat skid steer first. Chris is here again, this will be a split cost between the sanitary board and the city, as both departments will be able to utilize that equipment. Danny, did you wanna give the, recommendation for the Bobcat skid steer?
Yes, the recommendation is a Kubota, from State Equipment for $61,900, and it replaces a Bobcat, 1997 model, 26 years old.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve the purchase of the Bobcat, skid steer that replaces the very old piece of equipment we've been band-aiding together.
Motion accepts $61,900 for a skid steer.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I had a couple questions. So there's a list of all the attachments. Are we gonna purchase any attachments for that? I know they're universal, but.
It comes with a bucket, and
Right.
then we will purchase those at a later time. Not exactly sure which ones we need. We do know that we need a broom. We may wanna do that now, or we can do it later.
Well, whatever's utilized on the Bobcat should be crossed over, it should be.
Yeah.
I think some of the attachments we've got is interchangeable,
Yeah.
but I'm not 100%.
But right now, just the
Yep.
machine.
Just the mower with the
Yep,
bucket.
just the machine, just the Bobcat skid steer at this point. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now we'll go back to the one that I missed. I'm sorry about that. Resolution 2023-07, purchase of a side-by-side for the park department. This will replace a golf cart that's also a considerable number of years old. Golf cart's not exactly made for some of our trails either, so the side-by-side makes more sense for working and, for durability than the golf cart that was purchased a number of years ago. So, Danny, your quote for the, side-by-side?
It's, yes, utility vehicle, $11,285.
And just so everyone knows that the equipment we're taking out of the rotation will be subsequently auctioned as well. So anything that we're taking off of our fleet, those will go back into a subsequent sale at a later time. I'll entertain a motion for the side-by-side.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion.
I've got a question on this one. We have a brand new John Deere at the turf complex that I see employees already using, so.
It's specifically for Andre.
It's meant to be only.
Yeah, it's meant for grooming the turf and things like
Okay,
that.
cause they are using it already some to
Yes.
fill in, okay, so if we're gonna keep that designated, then that's fine, that's what, I just wanna make sure we're doubling up.
Sure. Further discussion?
I think also that, the golf cart is, it has its uses and everything like that.
Right.
And we certainly, as far as maintenance on trails and that kind of stuff, it's certainly a needed item to get out and about and go with. And it could be, used for emergency type things, people get stuck, trapped, falling out of trees, whatever. We need emergency, quick access to that, so I think it's a good idea to upgrade to that. And it's time.
If there's no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Last item on our agenda, we are to item F, right? Okay. Consideration and approval of 2023-09, a resolution for the job position of stormwater supervisor. Our stormwater, and did you want to speak to this, John or Chris? I don't want to monopolize time, but our stormwater and our sanitary board are supposed to be separate departments. And now that there are a number of projects going on, especially the sanitary board's sewer project, stormwater needs a crew leader. And basically that's what we would be doing, is moving somebody up from within to the position of crew leader to run stormwater projects as well. You guys also know, Rick, you may not be aware of this, but everyone else is, we've got a sizable project coming up on Highland Park as well. They've been working on Blake Street for 2 or 3 weeks. There's a number of projects that someone needs to be a crew leader for, and that's the idea here, is to put somebody in a position of decision-making while out on the job. So that's the ask from the council. If you have questions, I would direct those to Chris or myself, either one, but that's the ask of the council tonight. And I'll entertain a motion as such.
I'll make a motion, we, consider the job position for stormwater supervisor.
Second.
Motion and a second on the floor. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor,
What's,
signify. Yep, go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
What are we, is this just exploring the possibility, probability, or?
We have someone in-house that's
position?
expressed interest, and Chris has talked to, Chris, Danny, Steve, and the stormwater team. Chris, you wanna talk about it at all? You're sitting here.
Yeah, so stormwater is a beast by itself. It's a whole utility. If you look at the other communities around the state, Huntington, Hurricane, Beckley, Charleston, Cerrito, Canova, each municipality has a stormwater department. So I'm over the sanitary board, so I should be focused on sanitary board projects. Danny's over street and parks, so he should be focused on that. We have a stormwater permit through DEP and EPA that is 92 pages long. We've got to do sampling, we've got to do reporting, we have to do inspections. I have a 9 a.m. inspection tomorrow morning with Salzer concerning stormwater. And so on top of my meeting, I've got crews all over town working. So tomorrow at 9 a.m. is a perfect example where I need to be 4 places at one time. Well, that's inefficient, and it's not fair to the sanitary board, it's not fair to the residents of Barboursville. So there should be, just like every other community in the state, there needs to be a stormwater person, a parks person, an engineer, and street person, and sanitary board person. So this would alleviate the workload off Danny and I, so we could focus on what we need to do day-to-day operations. So.
So is this a seasonal, or is this all the time?
No,
Our MS4 requirement, there are requirements for stormwater and how you deal with stormwater.
Sure.
So having someone in a supervisory role is it's getting to be important because the workload is there now. So again, what we're looking at doing is pulling somebody from within to be in a leadership capacity and creating that position officially.
Well, we need to hire someone to take the position of the one that's moving up.
I don't think so. I think we're just shifting somebody. He's been working in stormwater already, but because they are all working together so much, and he's going 2 or 3 different places for the sanitary board, we need somebody in the field that can be in a supervisory role for stormwater now.
So this isn't a new position, it's just a transfer of?
It's someone that's current in-house going to that position.
I see, okay.
The position, stormwater supervisor, the position.
Is a new title.
Is a new title,
Is a
that's
new
why
title.
it's being brought before the
Yeah.
council. It's not a position that we've ever had.
Correct.
It's not just laying pipes and working on pipes. It's, Chris mentioned MS4. That's something that the EPA through the state mandated for us to do, like annual reports. We take samples at certain discharge points. There's just, like Chris said, the permit is about that thick. And this has been in service since 2009.
And the permits and the regulations and what we're required to do change annually. It's growing. I mean, it's what they're requiring us to do is growing. So we also need to grow along with all the.
Well, I understand what a difference that the HR department, for instance, has made with relation to the city and the need of growing pains and such.
If there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution 2023-09.
I had one more question.
Sure.
Sorry, you mentioned a couple of towns, I didn't hear what you were saying. So, a village, city our size, do they have this position most often? Is it frequently seen that they have this
so we
position
would
in our size?
we would be compared to Cerrito and Canova. They have about the same population, if a little bit more, a little bit less. But if you go to their websites, they have strictly stormwater department. And they have their sanitary and they have their sanitation. So they have crew leaders. And like we were talking about earlier, our permit's that thick. We have to do sampling, reporting, we have DEP inspections. We gotta work with the contractors that are building houses for erosion control.
That's true.
And the major part of our permit, that takes a lot of my time is, it's called minimum control number 5. It's public outreach. So I team up with Huntington and Milton and Hurricane, and we go to the local elementary schools, and we have these models for the kids to play on. We have a booth set up at Fall Fest. We go to other meetings like in Charleston to share ideas on how we're doing public outreach. Back when we had the newsletter, I was required to do a quarterly stormwater article. That counted as part of our public outreach. So it's a utility by itself. The only thing that makes us different is we don't charge the residents a stormwater fee, as a lot of people call it the God tax. You know, every time it rains, you get charged for it. Our stormwater is funded from levy, so that's kind of what makes us different. The problem is the state regulations don't care how your stormwater is funded, it just needs to be done. And so stormwater from the state and the federal government has been coming down the pipeline over really the last 10 years pretty hard. And we had our first inspection 2 months ago from our inspector from Charleston, and he was kind of giving us a heads up that they're not going to be as lenient as they used to be. And so a lot of that stems from the forever chemicals that we all hear about, the PFOS and the PFOA. That's part of our sampling requirements is we have to do dry sampling, so we have to go to Guyandotte and Mud River and Tanner Branch and take samples when it's not raining, and then the first 30 minutes it is raining, we have to go take samples and compare the results, and then send them to Charleston and then Philadelphia, the EPA office. And so it's a whole utility by itself. And so right now, Danny and I kind of juggle back and forth on different projects, but really I need to focus on sanitary board, he needs to focus on, street and public works, and there needs to be stormwater supervisor, whoever it may be, saying, okay, this is our schedule, this is when we're gonna sample, this is when we're gonna report. When DEP comes down for inspections, they go there, and then, we continue to do our job. But that's what this position would entail.
Thank you for being here tonight, too. I appreciate it.
And just one more clarification, we have staff designated to sanitary, we have staff designated to street.
Yep.
Do we have designated stormwater, any staff at all?
Yeah, there is a
Okay.
stormwater crew. We're in a position now where we need someone in leadership to help run that department. If there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2023-09.
I'll make that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We go to council, and we'll start, Ronnie, we'll start on your end this evening.
Okay, yeah, a few comments if I may. In the first notion about spending $7 million on the sewer project and that kind of thing, I was like, that's crazy. That's more money than I'll ever see in my whole life. And I thought, that's just crazy. I said, the sewer system is supposed to sustain itself. It's supposed to support itself, and it has to do that by coming back to all us and everything. And so then the more I thought about it, and I've been on council for a long time, and the home rule tax. Thank you, Mayor, for getting out to Charleston and getting this home rule tax. And I've been told by a number of people the only villages, cities, whatever, that are prospering right now in West Virginia are the home rule cities. And we are fortunate that our mayor has seen and got us involved with that, and we were one of the pilot cities to start that, and that's where this money has come from. And I mentioned I've been in council for a long time. Years ago, we didn't have that money, so the only choice that we had was to put a Band-Aid on it and kick the can down the road, and it's been kicked down and kicked down. And year after year, the smell from the lagoon was hollered at and complained about it, and we just were told and still have been told, but fortunately that's come to an end. But you just have to deal with it. You just have to put up with it a couple 3 times a year that it has that odor, and so fortunately this is one major investment. It's not an expenditure, it's an investment in our community. And if you've done a lot of investigation, you'll find that most municipalities are struggling really bad with their infrastructure regarding both stormwater and the sewer. And I'm really proud that we are taking these steps to fix this. So we're way ahead of most municipalities in the city, and when ours is top notch and state of the art, others will be starting to fall behind, and so on that note, and that I think it's a great thing. It does sound like a lot of money, but we're not emptying the bank account to do this. We've been financially responsible, and we have the money to do this for all of our residents, and so that's why we're all for it. There's nobody up here that hasn't been fiscally responsible, and contrary, we've all done everything we could, and good watchdogs of our funds. And to Jacob, thank you for your comments earlier. I would like to I'd like to join you in that. I like to see the hard copy of the newsletter as well. We have all spoke about it, and I don't stand alone in saying that. But on the other side of it, it needs to be just like what we're doing. We're sending a survey out, see who wants it, who wants the hard copy of it, and then we'll go from there.
Well, one thing I forgot to mention is every name that came on the petition, I told him, I said, this is like a double-edged sword. I said, you're showing your support. I said, but also, if you sign and put your address, you just showed City Hall that they don't have to send out a letter to you.
Well,
so they could actually use that as
we can go into that another time, and there are other avenues that that information is available, of course.
Right.
But on the last thing, I will say that yes, about the deer and the deer population in the county, it needs. I don't know what the answer is, but we did get rid of the skunks.
Yay!
I'll echo Donnie on the sewer program. I think if you would still look at statewide rates, we're fractional compared to any state rate there is. So this is just one thing we're able to put to our citizens and keep our bills low, not have these dramatic changes. Because I mean, we're well under, I'd say, half of most costs.
Every bit of. We were having a discussion about public utilities before everybody came in too, and the ire that's drawn when you're talking about public utilities and who controls them. We're fortunate enough to be able to control our own sewer rates, and I would echo yours and Donnie's sentiments. We are absolutely doing this to stay out of the pockets of our residents, and every person that receives a sewer bill is going to be affected positively by this investment. So I appreciate both of your comments.
Yep. And then also, I just had reached out for a quick work order on our ball fields, just some infills being taken care of, and I've had praise from multiple people in the organization how well it was taken care of and how much it helped. So appreciate the guys coming out and getting that taken care of. And then just enjoyed the crowd. Any input, negative, if it seems negative, it's not. We need to hear these things, and positive things are great to hear as well. So this is how we make the city better and make it a better place to call home, and appreciate everybody being here and your input. So thanks, guys.
Okay. I'd like to add a couple of comments, as Patrick says about the ball field. A few weeks ago, I was at the ball field, and that ball field is, we all drive by, but you're actually there watching the ball games, the sound system, the lighting, the concession stand is really, probably some of us, I was one of the ones not to ever just drove by and saw it. As you see it in operation, it really makes you appreciate what the city has done for the residents of ours and the children that's growing up. But I wanted to make that comment because that's my grandkids are out there, and but it was just something really. It's operational. Everybody needs to go see it. Just to listen to the sound system. It's playing. It's good. And me being new on the council, it's been a great idea.
It's a great facility, and we have a great board of directors at Little League as well. So we appreciate the partnership.
The food was good.
Yeah. That's the important part.
And the other comment is me being new on the council, I have been, if I see some of the city workers out, I'll say, hello, how you guys doing? Is there anything we can do as me as council, help to do better for the city? Some of the guys do know about the new mower, the skid steer, the side by side. Those guys are excited. They're so excited as maybe, as some of you don't know, there's 600 or 700 acres out there. These guys mow. You know, these guys mow all summer. And this is a big deal to them because, you know, it's new equipment, it's safer, things don't fall apart, putting Band-Aids on things. But these city workers, they have really, they appreciate council, they appreciate the city, appreciate you, Mr. Tatum. But when when they talk 600 or 700 acres, that's a lot of grass to cut.
That's a lot of stepping for sure.
Yeah, so anyway, so that was a couple of comments, and, like always, thank you guys for coming. Anything I can ever do, we as council, as all of us, not only me, let us know. We like the good, we like the bad, we thank people when they come. It's very, very good that y'all come out and visit and settle up. So, and one more thing, Jacob, I do, and I'm one of those guys, as the cars go out, I was one of those before council, those, city letters did make a difference. And I'll say that in front of the mayor because those were good. But I guess as time goes on, there was so much that they did get thrown away. They found them in the trash, you know, whatever, but you read them away, but some people didn't do it. But as a couple of years where I live, it was good to read. I was looking for that. I think it was Nancy Cartmill. She was big on that, and I always enjoyed reaching them because it does let the public know what is going on, what's happening, when things will be, and I do appreciate that. But you know, as we send these cards out, I hope people fills them out, yes or no. But I hope people get involved and just make that happen. And that's the way it's going to happen.
I look at it this way: they've complained about it, and the mayor and you all know about how much people complain about stuff. Well, it's going out, it's happening, and it's time to show what you want.
Let the city people vote. You know, let them be heard.
Yep.
I think that's a great idea.
Thanks for your comments. Anything else, sir?
I'm good.
Good, all right.
I want to thank Paula for being proactive in getting the sign out on Farmdale. That is a huge reminder for me of what's going on, and I don't know if you all have noticed it if you come that way, but it's fantastic for letting us know what's coming up and just reminders of things we should do as citizens. I think it's a big improvement in coming in from Farmdale. Thanks everybody for coming, this is nice. I was like waiting for somebody to come in and need an award or something. This is starting my 5th year, and I think this is the most people that we have had as citizens that come in to have comments of things that we should do and that we are doing, and it's nice to hear concerns from citizens. I mean, we sometimes in our work sessions we bring up some of these things, but it's nice for you all to bring your concerns to us, and we like it that we clean the ditch and that you have nothing negative to say. You just come say, you know, thumbs up. So thank you all for coming. One of the things that I love about the city, and you know, I'm not going to compare it to others because there's nothing to compare it to, but our infrastructure is one of the things that makes us so awesome, is that we don't wait till it falls apart and then try to fix it. So, you know, that's from the mayor to the accountant to the attorney to, you know, Danny, Darren, Chris, Andre, that's everybody working together as a team, and that's the one thing that I see positive about the city is that everybody works together. We don't have drama, and if we have drama, it's because of a busted pipe, it's not because the personality's busted, so, yeah. Thanks, that's it.
I do have a couple of things, and it has to do with grass. Over there at the railroad tracks, as you go across railroad tracks, this side of the school, the grass is really high there. Karen Terman used to call me every year. I'm telling you now because she hasn't called for a while. Yeah. Underneath the underpass, right there at the railroad tracks, as you come across railroad tracks.
Merritt Street.
Merritt Street?
Yeah, Merritt Street, McClung Avenue, right there.
Okay.
And then right underneath the underpass, if we can get that grass off the sidewalk there, because we got a lot of kids that are walking errands, now the school's back open. And I was hoping we'd get this done before Fall Fest. The water leak up in town, right there at the Nancy Cartmill Gardens, where it's coming across the sidewalk.
The last meeting, you indicated it was wet.
Yeah.
Well, just the day before that meeting, they had cleaned the pond, and that's why it was so wet.
Well, it's still running, Danny.
Really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
walk every morning,
Check on it.
it's running.
So that was my three main things I want to talk about. I want to thank everybody for coming. We appreciate all of your input, negative or positive. It's just that you get out and you come tell us what we need to do or what needs to be done. We really appreciate that. I thank you, Chris and Andre, for being here. I think that really puts a better light on what's going on. It explains to our people. Jacob, I'm totally 100% for the newsletter. And I think that what Rachel's talking about we're gonna do, I really hope that people want it so we can get it back.
Well, they claim they do, so like I was telling him, it's time to do something about it.
Thank you for all your input, guys, because everything you said tonight was absolutely positive and it was correct. We have a great group of guys and employees that carry our town. That's what we gotta take care of, our employees and our public, our residents of this town. That's why we're here, and I appreciate everything y'all said. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming this evening. It's nice to see a big crowd. One thing I've been thinking about is the Fall Fest coming up, and daily I have applications coming in my office for vendors, and I think it's gonna be a really good Fall Fest this year, and I hope everybody's excited and will come out for that. We're just getting a lot of people signed up every day.
Walk the plank.
The theme is pirates, right?
Just a couple of things, Chris, I wanted to say for your crew, I've gotten several nice comments about Lake Street work outside of the water companies you have there. No, I know, no, they said you guys are super efficient, and I've gotten a lot of nice comments up there, so please pass that along to your guys. And also, this past Friday, we celebrated 30 years. Harry Moore retired from the village of Barboursville, so we had his luncheon here. He retired officially, so a retirement well deserved. Harry served the village very well, and it's hard to replace somebody with that type of experience and that much time in. So we're glad that Harry got the opportunity to retire, but we're sad to see him go. But we'll close the meeting in honor of Harry Moore tonight. So yeah, go ahead. Yes, of course.
We do have another employee retiring this Friday, do we not?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Yep, we'll do.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yep.
11:30.
Yep.
Friday.
If any of you guys wanna come Friday, it's 11:30 as well, so feel free to drop by. But we will certainly close the meeting in honor of Harry this evening for his service to the village of Barboursville. Again, thanks everybody for coming. It is nice to see a crowd. Nice to see all of you. We'll close the meeting.